please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
I'm Kritika Saxena. You're watching Reporter's Diary, starting now. Well, let's kickstart Reporter's Diary with all the action from Dalal Street. It was a volatile day of trade for the markets on expiry day. However, markets did manage to recover in the last hour of trade to end flat. So as you can see on your screens, the bank recovered over a 170 point to end the day mildly in the green. That's the bank Nifty for you. The Midcaps underperformed the benchmark indices to end 0.5% lower in trade. However, for the series, the Nifty posted its biggest fall since October 2008. Let's bring in Anuj Singhal, as always, who's standing by to take us through all the details. Anuj, it was a volatile day very clearly, but some recovery in the last hour of trade means that all wasn't lost for the bulls in today's trade.
Well, expiry day, and we clearly had the expiry day factors play out. There was so much volatility through the day. Just see the intraday chart of the indices and you'll know the large cap indices recovered, especially the bank Nifty in last hour of trade, though mid caps did fall in trade. In terms of stocks which gained ground today, you had stocks like Sun Pharma and Aurobindo. So the two pharma names did well. Adani Ports as well was higher. Infosys, Larsen and M&M really provided support to the index in last hour of trade, with some help from stocks like Kotak, IndusInd and Yes Bank. On the losing end, stocks like ONGC, but big auto stocks, Eicher, Maruti, Tata Motors are seeing large correction now. Lupin as well was down. On the F&O's front, some big gainers included names like Biocon, Reliance Naval and IDBI, while on the sell side, you had names like Fortis, PC Jewelers and Siemens as well. All in all, it's been a gut-wrenching series for the bulls, especially the way a lot of the leadership stocks have fallen all through this month. Will be interesting to see what March brings for us.
Okay, Anuj, thanks for joining in with that. Of course, expiry day jitters impacting trade. But let's shift focus then to the latest emerging from the Punjab National Bank fraud. The bank today responded to queries sent in by the National and Bombay Stock Exchanges. Now, to a question on how the fraud was initially reported as 280 crore but was subsequently changed to over 11,000 crore rupees, PNB replied that further investigation into the fraud case led to the enhanced amount being disclosed. On the question on why it had not reported the filing of the FIR to the CBI at the time of occurrence, PNB has replied, saying that news in public would have alerted the fraudster and hampered recovery. The bank has also said that it has had enough capital to meet the liabilities decided by law and has followed all legal avenues to recover its dues. That reply comes on a day that the Enforcement Directorate has seized 9 luxury cars belonging to Nirav Modi, including a Rolls-Royce Coast. It has also seized mutual funds and shares worth 7.8 crore rupees belonging to Modi and over 86 crore rupees belonging to Mehul Choksi. Meanwhile, the CBI has said that Vipul Ambani, who is the president for finance at the Modi's Fire Star Group, was aware of illegal LOUs or letter of undertakings allegedly issued by PNB employee Gokulnath Shetty. So that's the latest update as far as PNB and that entire issue is concerned. But let's move on to the big story from the telecom space. And this had most telecom stocks buzzing. In a bid to enhance the efficiency of public sector telecom firms, the centre has announced a plan for strategic collaboration among telecom public sector units. The plan will push for greater operational synergy and will focus on effective utilization of human resources, land, building and training facilities. Ashmit Kumar is here with exclusive details. Ashmit, take us through fine print of this collaboration plan and how this will pan out.
Well, globally there is consolidation in the telecom space, and that India cannot be an exception, and that there is no room for conflict but only cooperation. These were the broad two planks on which the DoT made the announcement for there being greater synergies and exploitation of those synergies, importantly, between various DoT PSUs. We have the contours with us as to which are the areas of cooperation that they're looking at. First up, there is a concerted effort that will be made in terms of lowering the amount of litigation between these parties, and that there should be a framework, in-house framework for resolution of these issues by way of dialogue, by way of conversation. There is also an effort being made towards there being better utilization of vacant land parcels that are available with these respective DoT PSUs. And there is also talk of there being greater effort in terms of coordination between the parties for sharing of digital infrastructure, for sharing of physical infrastructure, for sharing of R&D infrastructure. That is a concerted effort being made. There is also talk of there being emphasis on pooling of resources between all of these various DoT PSUs to ensure that they work as one towards working towards towards one agenda, which is of Digital India. In fact, on being asked to the Telecom Minister on whether or not there is an actionable timeline, the response that we got is that there is a framework in place and that there are actionable deadlines that the DOT PSUs will be following in terms of the MOUs that have been signed. On being asked on whether or not this can be seen as a precursor to the MTNL-BSNL merger, well, on that question they maintained a calm silence, but nonetheless did hint towards there being greater consolidation in the sector. So clearly the message being sent out by the DOT is that there is room for only cooperation and not conflict. Back to you.
Okay, so cooperation is how the telecom, that the DOT at least is hoping to go through the stressful times in the telecom sector. Thanks, Ashmit, for that. In fact, Manoj Sinha, the telecom minister, while speaking to the media today, highlighted the 5 areas that the government would be working on to create synergies. We also caught up with Aruna Sundararajan, the telecom secretary. She clarified that there were no discussions on merging of MTL and BSNL, at least at the moment.
We have identified specific areas that our teams will work upon. For example, training of manpower, settlement of legal issues, and utilization of vacant spaces in order to demonstrate the true value of synergy. I am also pleased to see the focus on clearly defined timelines and performance indicators. These should lend our efforts a sense of purpose and also aid in effective monitoring of the progress that the teams are making.
Different MOUs have different timelines because some of them, so there are short-term, there are medium-term, and there are long-term, action items which have been identified.
Are we looking at, since we are looking at greater exploration of synergies, can we see this perhaps as a way of perhaps the first step in the MTNL-BSNL merger? Would that be a fair comment?
No, you already heard the minister say that the idea is to bring the two organizations together, but whether it will actually be a merger, that is not under consideration at the moment. You heard him say that.
2017 was a big year for the renewable energy industry in India, with big policy reforms like competitive bidding in wind, record low tariffs and the GST rollout. 2018 promises to be one in which the big boys in the space come to the public markets. Nisha Podar is here on the IPO plans for the biggest companies in this space. Nisha.
Year 2018 could well be the year of large renewable energy IPOs, the biggest that India has ever seen. So Singapore company Sembcorp is looking to list its India assets here, and also Sumant Sinha founded company Renew Power, which is owned by Goldman Sachs. These two are the big bang IPOs that are expected. In fact, work is moving fast. I do gather that Sembcorp is looking at filing its DRHP very soon, looking to raise about $600 million. And the total valuation expectation could be about $2.5 billion. For Renew Power, they're looking to beef up their portfolio a little more for higher valuations. So they are soon to announce and close the buyout of Austro Energy, which is from Actis, that's a private equity firm, for about $1.7 billion. So that large transaction could be announced by March, and by April, Renew Power could be looking at filing its DRHP with a valuation expectations upwards of $3.5 billion. Of course, a lot will depend on market conditions as well as the kind of investor response that they get in the roadshows.
Okay, Nisha, thanks for taking us through those exclusive details. Now, here's one more exclusive story. There's a new twist in Rajiv Bansal severance pay controversy. Infosys has now claimed that former CFO breached trust and confidentiality. An IT giant has sought a hefty sum in counter claims. Rukmini Rao, who broke the story earlier today, is here with the details. Rukmini, put this into perspective. It has been around a year since this tussle started, and now there is a fresh twist. Tell us what this means with Infosys asking for a counter claim.
Like you rightly pointed out, Rajiv Bansal, the former CFO of Infosys, has been fighting this arbitration battle for close to 1 year now to secure outstanding amount of close to 12 crores. That was a part of his severance pay, which the company had withheld owing to certain clarifications. In fact, Infosys had paid him out 5 crores out of the total 17.38 crores, which was a part of his severance. Now, what we have learned from our sources is that Infosys has, in fact, put in a counterclaim in this entire arbitration, seeking over 100 crores. In fact, sources have told us that the company is looking to be compensated for close to 135 crores for breach of trust and confidentiality on part of Rajiv Bansal, when reached out to comments on the story, Infosys said that they do not have any comments to offer on this story. However, since the arbitration process headed by the former Supreme Court Justice Ravindran is still on, it'll be very interesting to see what the final award of this arbitration is going to be and what it might entail both the parties involved in this matter. Back to you.
Okay, we need to wait to see and understand when this actually resolves and assess the impact on Infosys then. Thanks, Rukmini, for taking us through that exclusive story. Now, in news from the global automobile space, Raj Nair, the president for Ford Motors US operations, has been ousted following an internal investigation into inappropriate behavior. Now, he had taken over as president on the 1st of July 2017. Ford did not give out details on what the behavior entailed, but a company spokesperson said that the review was launched in the past weeks after complaints of inappropriate behavior. Nair's exit comes after several high-profile business leaders and politicians have quit or been fired over the last year following accusations of alleged sexual harassment. In January, Ford announced the abrupt departure of Jason Luo, the CEO of Ford China. The company has also been battling an ongoing sexual harassment litigation from its factory workers in Chicago. Back home, shares of Adani Ports rose in trade after it won the Hazira Port case against SR Steel. The court rejected SR Steel's plea that challenged the expansion of Adani's Hazira Port in Gujarat, which is adjacent to SR Steel's Magdala Port. Now, SR Steel has alleged that extending the limits of Hazira Port is clear encroachment on a land which was reclaimed by SR, it claims. It accused the state of shadowing and showing undue haste and favour to benefit Adani's Hazira Port. That's the latest as far as Adani and SR's battle is concerned. But let's move on to another interesting story. Google and Facebook keep me awake at night. That's a candid admission from one of India's top banker, Uday Kotak, reacting to WhatsApp launching a mobile payment feature. Kotak said that technology is disrupting banking in many ways. While Kotak welcomed technology into banking, he also underlined the need to beef up digital security. Here's his exclusive interview with Shireen Pan.
You said that risk mitigation is something that keeps you up at night. What about the disruption on account of technology? I mean, we now have WhatsApp Pay here in India, and you know that's got the potential of being a game changer. So how much of that is keeping you up at night?
When I say that I keep awake at night with whether I'll have a bank next morning, I think it could be on two counts. One is security, and that's one aspect of it. And the second is a Google or a Facebook having invaded the banking space.
They're already here.
So we have to be paranoid on both counts, and we've got to move at great speed on both these areas. But keep in mind that as we push faster on the technology front, and if I can use a phrase, as we move swiftly on the technology front, we've got to be...
Swift is not necessarily the best choice of words.
We have got to be careful that we are really getting our security aspect as well right.
Yeah, as I said, swift is probably not the best word at this point, but you know, in the context of the disruption that Google Pays or WhatsApp Pay are bringing into the Indian market, how do you compete with that?
No, I think the issue really is the key long-term game for banks is customers. And on that, I'm very happy to say, goes back to our end March launch of 811. We had said in 18 months, we would move to double the customer base from around 8 million. Our scorecard at the end of 9 months is we have crossed 12 million customers, which is, we are very much on track. And we continue to see a phenomenal growth in our customer base, and we are very, very happy about the speed at which we are acquiring customers and building deeper relationships with customers going forward. And ownership of the customer is going to be the key, and then providing the whole host of digital solutions. Therefore, I genuinely believe that India is a huge opportunity on the digital side, but we must have our focus on managing risks simultaneously, and they're both two sides of the same coin.
Let's
get you a CNBC TV18 exclusive interview now. Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi is betting big on India and wants it to become their second tech center in the world after Silicon Valley. In a conversation with Shireen Pan at a town hall with IIT Delhi students, the Uber CEO laid out his blueprint as far as hiring in India was concerned. He said that they will hire aggressively in India. That's not all. We also quizzed Khosrowshahi about his biggest inspiration. He confessed that he was a Jeff Bezos fan. Listen in.
I want to make a big bet in India. I think the talent pool here is extraordinary. I think the work ethic here is terrific. I think people are hungry to succeed. I love the entrepreneurial energy in India. So I want India to be our second tech center. You know, San Francisco is the headquarters, but India is going to be a very, very tech center. And who knows, maybe 10 years from now, India will be our first tech center. We'll see.
What's the hiring plan here?
Multiples of where we are now. Multiples of where we are. I'm pushing our teams hard.
Who is the leader that inspires you today?
I think Jeff Bezos is an incredible leader for Amazon. I think he's built a founder who can scale the way that he's scaled, a founder who can succeed across different products that he's built, and a founder who takes failure in stride and just keeps innovating is someone who is worthy of great admiration. If we can be the Amazon of mobility, then I think we have a win on our hands.
Okay, moving on. India's ranking in Transparency International's Global Corruption Perception Index stood at 81 among 180 nations in 2017. Now, this is a marginal slip from 2016 when its ranking stood at 79. That index measures perception of corruption in the public sector and uses the scale of 0 to 100 to score a nation. Now, India's score remained intact at 40 points in both 2016 and 2017, but in 2015 we saw India scoring 38 on that index. Further, the report highlights that India, along with Philippines and Maldives, are the worst offenders in terms of graft and press freedom in the Asia-Pacific region. So, how does India score among BRICS nations? China and South Africa, as you can see on your screens, fare better on the index. Brazil and Russia, meanwhile, lag behind. India is also ranked higher than Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka on the index. Bhutan, however, fares better than India. Globally, New Zealand and Singapore, with scores of 89 and 84 out of 100, respectively, top that list. Somalia is the